You know, when you get to 60, you are qualified to take CPP, and you may be tempted to take CPP to get your early retirement started. But is it the best move? Or could you be causing permanent damage in terms of lowering your retirement income? You may want to do some things first before you start to take out your CPP. I'm going to be explaining what to check for before you start to take out from your CPP, because it's going to have beneficial and long-term implications when it comes to your retirement income. But first, make sure to hit the like, subscribe, drop a comment down below. My name is Leon Mann. I'm a licensed wealth consultant with Money Assist Financial. And what I do, I help hardworking folks add an additional multiple 6 to 7 figures to their retirement portfolio. And I also help them to protect the hard-earned money at retirement. Now, the first thing that you should look for when you want to contribute or start contributing to your CPP, you want to look at the consequences of starting now versus delaying contribution. Now, when you start at 60, because this is the starting point where most people are eligible. When you start at 60, your CPP is reduced by 0.6% every single month. So what this means for you guys is that you're losing 36% of your CPP benefits than starting at 65. On the other hand, when you delay your CPP past 65 years of age, your CPP starts to increase by 0.7%, 42% more benefits at 70 years of age, as opposed to starting at 65. As a matter of fact, I did a previous video. You'll be getting more than twice the amount of CPP starting at age 70, right? So you want to consider the consequences of starting now versus delaying. The second thing is to look at other sources of income. For example, at 60 years of age, perhaps you have an annuity, perhaps you have TFSA investments, you may have RRSP investments, non-registered investments, things like that. You want to consider alternative sources as much as possible in order so that you can delay your CPP contribution. Actually, working may be the easiest decision if you don't have any much saved up, but make sure at least you have something to fall back on. The third thing is to look at your record of CPP contributions. Oftentimes, there could be mistakes on reporting. So what you want to do, you want to log in to your CRA website and look for things like your contributions, your annual contributions, or things like your lowest working years. Remember, guys, that the CRA will deduct 8 of your lowest working years in your CPP. So you want to make sure there are no errors in your CPP reporting, because if there are errors, it can really cost you like thousands of CPP contributions, right? So check for errors is the third thing. The fourth thing is to know your health. For example, if you are healthy and it looks like you're going to have a lengthy retirement, then it's best you may want to delay your CPP until 70 because you know you're healthy enough to have a long retirement. On the other hand, if you find yourself with health problems or health concerns, for example, and you have an idea that you may not have a lengthy retirement, it could be best to start to contribute to your CPP early, right? Because you want to at least enjoy some of it because you have health concerns, you have health problems, and you're not too sure if you're going to have a long time, for example, or a long lifespan after retirement. So you want to perhaps take advantage and use your CPP while you have it. The fifth thing is taxes, right? You got to have a tax strategy because your CPP will count as income earned. So there's a couple of tax strategies that you can consider. The first thing is to have investments in your tax-free savings account. In your tax-free savings account, you can use the investments tax-free. You can take it out tax-free, so it will not affect things like your income taxes, right? So you can use it and your income tax will not, or your income will not increase, in other words. The second thing is to consider an RRSP meltdown, right? If you know that you're going to pay more taxes, an RRSP meltdown is the process of withdrawing from your RRSP early so that when it transfers into a RIF and you have income, there can be less income coming out of it, right? So you have a low tax burden. You have less of a tax burden to begin with, right? So consider tax strategies if you know that your CPP may push you in a higher income tax bracket. And I've talked about this in previous videos as well, so feel free to check them out on my channel. The sixth thing is you want to consider your spouse or your partner. You want to look at things like survivor benefits. And by at least delaying your CPP, then you may have more of a survivor benefit. A survivor benefit basically pays out a monthly benefit to your surviving spouse in case you pass away. So things like age gap, you may want to look at. If you are the older partner, for example, you want to look at the age gap so at least you can protect your younger partner for that matter, right? You can optimize the survivor benefit and your CPP payments. And the seventh thing, last but not least, make sure you have a plan. Many people, they start to contribute to their CPP without actually taking time to set up a plan. And things that should be included in a plan include how much of a monthly income would you like to have in retirement? How long will your income be lasting, for example? And the other thing is, what kind of retirement lifestyle are you planning to have? And how tax efficient can you be with your retirement income? Remember guys, the more tax efficient that you can be with your retirement income, the better it will be for you. But the common mistake that a lot of people make is that they start contributing too early. And once you start to contribute early to your CPP, remember it is irreversible, right? Once you start to contribute, you can't go back and change it. So that's the biggest mistake that I see. And you will want to basically at least talk to a financial professional at least, right? To have another opinion as to what to do before you start contributing. By the way, if you have any questions with regards to CPP, feel free to check out my website. It's leonman.ca. And if you found value in this video, feel free to hit the like, subscribe, or drop a comment down below. Feel free also to check out my other videos where we turn it up a notch. Until next time, peace and love. Take care.